YouTube, how you doing? Nathan here. It's been a while. It's been quite some time since I've released a video on my YouTube channel. A couple reasons for that. The first one is I've been helping a few family members start up their own business, working with the website design and helping with video editing, those kind of things. I'll have a link to their social on the top corner here, and the website's at the top. DragonDenProductions.com is the main website. Go there, learn more about the company and what they do. The first official video has been uploaded. It's a history video. Go ahead and check that out. It's great to learn history. And there's some action figure reviews in the pipeline coming up, so that's cool. DragonDenProductions.store at the top of the screen there. That is also going to include their merchandise. So if you are interested in looking at their merch and buying it, feel free. Some pretty cool stuff there. And on the top corner, there's going to be YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all those social links up there as well that you can visit and follow them and things like that. Second reason before all that, I've been heads down on my content here, working on my game project, the expansive top-down spacer project that I've been working on for quite some time now. Just been getting the back-end engine going and working with the main design on that. So I've been focusing on the development on that side as well as the new business. So, a couple things there. Now, this video, I'm not going to be on Facecam the whole time. I'm going to switch over here in a second here, but this video, if you can tell by the title, is not going to be a programming tutorial or anything like that. It's going to be another gameplay series. Something that I started playing at the beginning of the year. Was looking for a cool JRPG to play, a turn-based style JRPG, not a action-based or anything other than a simple turn-based, like the old classic Final Fantasy days. So I picked up this game. I saw Trails of Cold Steel 4 on Steam and thought that looked interesting until I looked into it. And the recommended way to play is to start from the beginning, and that's essentially what I did. I started with this game. So this is not going to be my first playthrough. It's going to be New Game Plus. And I'm doing this at the recommendation and interest that a couple people have. Maybe more people that I know would be interested as well, but a couple people did speak out and say, I'd watch your videos on this if you play it. And some of them, a couple of them actually started with the Cold Steel 1. One of them's in like Cold Steel 3 and the other one's still on Cold Steel 1. So getting that backstory as well is pretty good, and just the amount of games that you need to play in this series is quite overwhelming, especially if you don't have the time to devote to that kind of thing. So to get the backstory, good idea for me to replay these games. I was wanting to replay them anyway, so might as well record it and go from there. So I'm going to switch to the gameplay here, and we'll go from there. Okay, so for the remaining of the video series, I might pop in here and there for camera, but typically I'm not on camera. This is technically my first official video on webcam in the beginning, and I just never posted any webcam videos in the past before. So I'm going to keep this a little bit brief. This is the introduction to the video series. I just want to talk about my thoughts on this game, the series, and that kind of thing. I'm going to keep it brief because I want to get into the gameplay, but it's going to be like a very, very small, minor, condensed review of not just this game, but in the series, and it's going to be... I'm not going to discuss spoilers. I'm just going to talk about the series in general. So, like I said a few minutes ago, I was looking for a game that fit that turn-based combat style of the old classic Final Fantasy games, like Final Fantasy X or below. None of the modern action RPGs or anything like that. And this is partly why I also really love Persona 5, because it's a modernized game that's still turn-based. So that's what I really like in my RPGs, is a turn-based style. Now, I do like Final Fantasy VII Remake a lot, and that is not turn-based, so it depends on how it's done. I don't really like Final Fantasy 15. I've tried it, don't really like it, and I don't like a lot of the other RPGs that have that same kind of style. So I started with this game earlier in this year. I should post this up by the end of 2021. If I don't, I started this game early in 2021. I started with this game. I saw Trails of Cold Steel 4 on Steam early in the year, and I thought it looked like a fun game. Just the cool action and like the ultimate attacks and stuff like that looked kind of cool. And looking into it, that was labeled 4, so I thought, okay, I'll just start with Trails of Cold Steel 1. But I did a little bit more deeper digging, and the true recommended way to play is to start with this game, Trails in the Sky, go to Trails in the Sky 2, then 3, then the cross-spell duology, Trails from Zero and Trails into Azure. I'll probably mix those two. I haven't played those yet because they have not been localized, so I skipped those. I still intend to play those when they're finally localized, which they did announce. And then Trails of Cold Steel 1 through 4. I'm in the middle of playing 4, and I was in the middle of playing 3. So I just wanted to jump, after 2 I wanted to jump into Cold Steel 1 for the more modernized combat and modernized graphics and things like that, but I still have a soft spot for these old style games, and especially this one that really got me into this series. Now, something different about this that is not very common in the gaming industry, and what I actually really love about this series. There is a downside to this game, is it's going to be a very, very, very slow introduction. Like 20 or 30 hours, it's just going to be going from location to location and doing these random requests. And I actually prefer that because you're soaking in all this world building, which will help when you get to the second game, the third game, and all the Cold Steel games. You still have that world building in the Cold Steel games, and on Cold Steel, at the end of Cold Steel 2, there's a cool callback. It's not critical, it's at the very end. And then at Cold Steel 4, that becomes like for those of you that are into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that's the Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. That's where all these people that we're involved with in this series, this trilogy, Trails in the Sky, the cross-spell duology, and the Cold Steel games, all those leads, characters, side characters, everybody comes together in this one amazing Cold Steel 4, and it really it really pays off at the end. Hundreds and hundreds of hours. I mean, you go to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and going from the beginning to that, you're thinking, oh, 20 movies or so, but this is hundreds of hours. Trails in the Sky 1, 2, 3, Cross-Spell Duology, 4, 5, Cold Steel 1, 2, 3, 4. No, not including 4 to get to the end game portion, basically. That's a lot of games to go through to get to that conversion point. But it's definitely worth it. Even though that this game is a little bit slow up front, it does kick into high gear pretty good, and then the second game is just non-stop high gear in my opinion. So that being said, this is going to be the introduction to the series. I'm going to start. This is going to be New Game Plus. I did play this game. I have clear data here, and you can actually see when I finished it was in May of 2021. So I finished it at level 37. I'm going to do New Game Plus. I've played time for 61 hours, and I'm going to bring forward some of my New Game Plus. You have some benefits that you can bring forward, so I'll bring forward some of that as well. I'm gonna I won't voice everything. I'll voice the main storyline conversations. I probably won't voice a lot of the side conversations, and my goal is not to 100% this. I'm not going to go for every single side quest or talk to every single NPC in the game every time I visit the area. That's one of the things that people love about this game, is that you can talk to a person in this game, a complete side character that you can completely miss. I missed this in my first playthrough. The same guy in the Trails in the Sky games, either this one or the next one, is in Cold Steel. And it's a complete side character. You don't even have to see it. It's just a little reference in a shop somewhere. You can talk to the guy. Because I might have talked to him, but I didn't make the connection when I got to the Cold Steel games. So that's pretty interesting. Just the world building is awesome in this series. So I'm not gonna devote a lot of my time with the side stuff. I'm gonna stick to the story. I'm not gonna focus too much on the magic. There's the combat system you can build. You can use orbs. For those of you that are in the middle of Cold Steel that are watching, those of you know who I'm talking about, that are just know the Cold Steel type of way that the ornaments work. The Trails in the Sky is a little bit different, where you can chain the colored ornaments together and produce different magical effects. That's one thing I wish they kept in the later games, but they didn't. I'm not going to focus too much about creating the ultimate magical attacks by chaining specific orbs. I'm just going to go through this for fun. Might do some side quests here and there. I did miss some quests on the bracer board, so that is one of my goals, is to make sure I do everything on the bracer board that's possible. See if I can at least get that for this playthrough. But the main goal of the playthrough is to introduce the story to those few people that have requested it, and for those that are watching that might be interested in an RPG or just want to watch for whatever reason. And a side note, I will be giving a gift of this game throughout this series, so stay tuned for that. That's what I like to play in all my series. If you go back and watch my Final Fantasy X/10-2 playthrough, I did a few giveaways of that game. So I just like to support the company and give new players the opportunity to jump in. So I like to do a couple giveaways here and there for this stuff. And this is a pretty cool game. So we're going to be in for quite a long session, because I do plan to do Trails in the Sky 2, 3, and Cold Steel 1 through 4. Hopefully the Crossbell arc will be localized, and I'll record that as well. But anyway, that's it for this introduction. The next one will actually load my clear data and get that going. I just want to get this introduction out there and ready for you guys. So stay tuned. I will not upload this before I upload the first official part. So just stay tuned by you just clicking the next video for your side. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the series, and see you next time.